Hey everyone, welcome to Creating with Jazzy Bundles. Today we are going to make some very simple cards out of cardstock packs that you might get from Joann's or Michael's or wherever you get your papers from. And you might think, how do you make cards out of those? But really, a lot of those pads have everything you need, including backgrounds or your sentiments, and that's really all you need, along with some scissors, tape, or some type of adhesive to be able to make some really, really pretty cards. So today, that's what we're going to work on. So the first thing that you need is some type of a cardstock paper pack or a scrapbooking paper pack. I got this one from Michael's. It's well loved. It's actually falling apart in a few spots up here at the top, but it has a lot of really, really pretty papers that have some background pieces in it, some larger pieces that you can use for backgrounds or sentiments, some pretty shiny pieces in it. And then there's pages like this where you can get a lot of sentiments to be able to add to your cards as well. So this is the one that I'm going to use today. I have made some cards out of this one before, so I have a lot of pieces that are already cut out. So I'm going to try to use some of these where possible. But basically just start by pulling out a few of your pages, pull out some of the ones that have the words on them so that they can be used and incorporated in as well. We may pull some more papers out of here if we need to, but so let's see what we've got here. The other things that you will need is some type of adhesive. So out here today I've got my double-sided tape. I've got some foam tape. I have some foam squares as well to be able to make some 3D pop-off effects. And then obviously I've got my glitter glue to be able to use as well. All right, so let's get started. And you'll need some type of scissors or cutter as well, I guess. So here's some of the stuff that is already here. Now, something to think of when you're working with this is that it can get very overwhelming very quickly when you think, how am I going to use all of these little pieces and make sure everything fits and works on the cards, right? Well, the good thing is you don't have to use everything, because let's face it, this entire piece is 6 by 8. That's not going on a 5 1/4 or a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 card, right? That's way too big. But we could cut out the word hope or bloom, or you can say cut out where flowers bloom and put that on the front, and then so does hope. You can cut that out and put it on the back. You could cut the butterfly out, or just this little pieces up at the top and the bottom here. So you got to think outside the box and think of different ways that you might be able to use things. The same thing here. You could cut out the word love instead of using this entire thing, because this is too big to go on a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 card, as you can see. But if you cut out just the words, that would fit on a card. You could do that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am actually going to pull out some more pages. Let's see what we can create here. I'm just looking for something that calls to me. This was half of the pack. Like I said, my pad is well loved, so it's in a couple of pieces here. And then remember, you can also use other pieces of paper to layer in. You are not stuck to this. So if you want to use, like, pull out some of your cardstock and put it in here as well, you could do that. There's definitely other things that you can do. All right. I'm going to pull out this paper. We'll make a card with this to start with. And apparently take a whole bunch of stuff with me. All right, so we're going to use this. All right, let's make some room. I'm going to use a white card for my background. All these little pieces. I'm going to cut this down because obviously it's not going to work the size that it is. Usually I would use my little guillotine, but it doesn't cut 12 by 12 paper, so we'll cut this down a little bit first and then I'll use my guillotine. I moved away from this because it doesn't matter how many times I change my blade, it just never really seems to cut straight and clean, which I'll show you a trick here in just a minute because I'll have to clean off the edge. A little trick that I figured out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a background for the back side of this piece here. So that needs to end up to be 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So I'll do the 4 here. This actually turned out a little cleaner than I anticipated, really, but that's all right. I can still show you the trick. There is still some edges. So my trick is using a nail file, and it's a little hard to see because it really didn't turn out as bad as I anticipated, but really all I do is I just go along the edge and it flattens down anything that was sticking up, and then if you go along the back, it'll make it really nice and smooth. You can even do it up here where it came out of the paper pad. I'll get all that stuff off the glue. All right, so now we got to finish cutting it down, and I like my guillotine better, so I'll use that. This side is 5 1/4. And we have our background for our card. You can see if it's right in the middle there. So now I know that is really, really busy. Actually, I think we're going to switch. I think I'm going to switch to this bloom instead, which needs a little help. It's got all the blue stuff from the thing. So I want to use this, but obviously that's way too busy. And I would like for this to pop off a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use some white cardstock behind it. And just to make it a little bit, I don't know, All right, so I just need a piece. And so I just want it to be a little bit bigger than this. So just so I can make sure I get my sizing correct, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue this down. And then I'll cut out around it. It'll be a little bit easier that way. Which my glue is almost gone. If you don't have art glitter glue yet, I strongly suggest you get some. I love this glue. It does not wrinkle my paper. It is super easy to work with, and you can buy this metal tip separately, and it comes with like a sewing pin that you can put in the top. Mine broke last week. I haven't gotten my replacement yet, so I'm just keeping my original lid that came with it on top of it so that it stays nice and clear and clean and ready to use. So all right, now I'm gonna snap this, cut this down to size. And there we go. Now, if I were to glue that down, and we can put that in the middle or towards the bottom, in a corner, whatever you want to do. I kind of like this towards the bottom thing. And there's a simple card that looks really pretty. You could always dress it up a little bit more if you wanted by adding like some pearl drops onto it. That could actually be really pretty. Maybe we'll do that. Get the one that's open. So, all right, before we do that though, we want to glue this all down. And the art glitter glue is pretty quick to adhese and quick to dry, which is great for a lot of things except for adjusting after you get it on here. So once you get your card on here, it's not going to move very much, if at all. So just keep that in mind. If you want something that allows you to move a little bit more, you might use something different. All right, there is that. Now, let's pretty it up a little bit more. So I like the idea of maybe putting dots on some of these flowers. I'll do it on mostly these big red ones, but we'll do a few of the pink ones too. These little drops take a little bit to dry. I usually just let it sit for about an hour or so, and then it's usually good. Especially if it's just little dots like this, it usually dries fairly quickly. And just like that, you have a card. A very simple card, but it looks really pretty. But it was really easy to make. So let's see if we can make a second one. I'm going to set this off to the side to dry. Important part, when you put it off to the side to dry, don't put it anywhere near any of your other supplies, because there's a good chance your hand is going to accidentally hit it. I have done that many times, actually. All right, so I don't think I have another card base, so let me make one of those really quick. I think this is 8.5. And you might have a scoring board that you can use, which if you do, more power to you. That's awesome. Go ahead and use it, and you can score your page there. I bought one. I wasn't all that thrilled with it, so I think I'm sending it back. I've lost my ruler. When I went to score, it seemed to be about 1/4 of an inch off. No, 1/8 of an inch off. And it just didn't look right at all. And I haven't really been able to figure out how to work with it yet. That makes me happy. So I think I'm going to just send it back and be done with it. So, all right. So, half of 8.5 is the 4 1/4 mark. Now, could you just fold this in half and crease it? Absolutely. But I have found if I score it first and then do it, it just makes it easier. First of all, you see how easy that folded. And then 2, it seems to lay down better. So that's why I tend to score mine first. All right. I've got these already cut out. So let's do something fun with this. We have maybe this. And this time, actually, we talked about using this page or this page. So maybe we'll use this. We'll see how that works. So we'll cut it down. I'm going to cut it down a little at a time. I'm not really sure how big yet I want it to be. Do want all of the gold stuff off of it, I think. Take all the gold off. Those are pretty. You could always save those for something else, but I tend to save too many scraps, so I think I'm going to toss mine. So we could put that right in the middle, actually, and it's not too busy. You can read it. And it can go right in here. I think it works nicely. I think I'm going to trim a little bit more off though, so that you can see a little bit more of the rainbows on the side. That looks about even. Even enough. There we go. And there we go. We can glue that down. This time though, I think I'm gonna go ahead and glue my bottom piece down, but I think I'm going to use my 3D or my little foam pieces for the love piece to come pop off a little bit. Alrighty. Foam squares. And I'll see if I can get it in the middle. That's close enough. Probably should have put a dot in the middle. I didn't think about that. I'm going to put a couple towards the middle to help support it a little bit. When you're doing it, make sure you do that before you push it down all the way. All right, there we go. Now it won't fall in the middle there. And you have this really pretty cardigan. Again, you could use pearls on this if you wanted to. Maybe we'll put it right here on these two little flowers, actually. You could also make a pretty design in the corners. I did that on some cards once, and it turned out really, really pretty when it dried. You can add glitter to it, whatever you want to do. There's 2 cards that we've now done out of a cardstock pack. And those only took us just a few minutes, really. The hardest part is picking out what paper you want to use and how you want to use it. So there's that. Thank you for hanging out with me today on Creating with Jazzy Bundles, and I look forward to hanging out with you again next time. Have a great day, everyone.